Good evening everyone and welcome to TTML Division 5. We are here tonight for the Japanese Grand Prix for the final time on F1 2020 in 2020, and we cannot wait to bring in the action, of course, here at the Suzuka International Circuit. My name is James Hay, going to be taking you through the stream as always here in Division 5, and joining me in the commentary box is a man who was missing last week, but I can say we found him and he is back with me tonight. It is Mr. Daniel Hoggard. Dan, how you doing?
Thank you very much, James. And yes, it is absolutely fantastic to be back covering this division yet again. Of course, from the sounds of it, James has filled me in. I missed a rather eventful turn of events in recent times, so we can now get back into the swing of things tonight here with the 9th round of the season. We are getting right into the business end now, and we're here at Suzuka, Japan, for the Japanese Grand Prix. Another very iconic track, which I'm sure, which is a track that I'd say all the drivers really love. It's so technical, so difficult. It's definitely going to be a challenge, and yeah, it's one that really the best drivers tend to come through on.
It's going to be a fascinating night, and of course, remember, Suzuka is the only figure of 8 track on the F1 calendar, and in fact, it's one of the only figure of 8 tracks anywhere in the world as well. I think the only I can't think of any off the top of my head that figure of 8 track certainly, but there are many out there, I'm sure. What happened last week? Jibby Storm got lucky once again, his 4th win in a row. I held him in the highest regard as per medium pilot from Division 1, of course, and he now is in the championship lead on 172 points from maiden second on 151. Just fill out the 2nd and 3rd positions, by the way. Ranheim and Jack Roos were 2nd and 3rd last time out in Singapore. Jibby Storm leading, 172, maiden second on 151, Jack Roos in 3rd on 137. Schmidtsky is coming up on the rails, I think, in 4th on 121. He's not entirely out of it just yet. Ranheim in 5th on 104, Rock City in 6th on 88, Invictus in 7th on 86, Satmi King in 8th on 81, Freak Vonk in 9th on 78, and Passels in 10th on 69 points. And Jibby Storm leading coming into tonight by 21 points out on track. What does he have to do to try and make that gap even bigger tonight?
When? That's a short answer, but yeah, there's obviously so many variables in a season that's been as unpredictable as this. Really, against someone like his May's, of course, being his closest rival for the championship, May's very reliable, very consistent. So really, a podium is going to ensure that he at least stays and maintains that championship lead. It's all about consistency. That's really what's kept Mays in the title fight, and it's what Jibby Storm needs in this final phase of the season to try and see it out. He's built up a decent championship lead, but it is far from over. We still have an awful long way to go. So I'd say for Jibby Storm, just need to try and avoid the mistakes. Just solid point scoring finishes, pick up the wins when you can, and that's going to be the mark of a champion. But we'll see if it turns out that way. We still have an awful lot of variables to play out over the rest of the season.
Yeah, one including, of course, being Japan tonight. The trials and tribulations of this 18-corner circuit are going to be really known, I think, to all of the drivers by the end of tonight, certainly. To run through the rest of the standings as well, Nelson 11th on 52 points, with Salas in 12th on 37. A little bit of unsurety. I can see him in the lobby, so he's going to be here. Nilsson in 13th on 36. Macker in 14th on 35. Torenheim, the less we say about him, the better, on 32 points, with Hulkenberg in also tied for 15th on 32. Schumi in 17th on 30. NSL Storm in 18th on 27. Bart, who was here tonight as a reserve, he's filling in the Red Bull seat. He's in 19th on 24, and Serve the Blessed in 20th on 23 points. Mercedes still leading the constructor standings as well, out on track on 239 points. Racing Point second on 209 points. Williams in third on 199, and that is a gap between the 3 teams at the top of 40 points. Mercedes have been the most consistent drivers so far. They've got Mays and Rock City, who have just been ever consistent throughout the season. But Racing Point, because of Jibby Storm, is putting the team really back into contention for the constructor standings.
Yeah, that gap has stayed, I think, pretty constant over the last few rounds. And of course, with constructors' points, you can win up to. I'm not exactly sure the exact number of points, but it's going to be, I imagine, north of 50 points that teams can can win in a single round. So it can change just like that, and everyone's going to have to be on their A game from all of those 3 teams. It's going to be absolutely fascinating to behold. That's going to be one thing that we're going to keep going on. I'm not sure what exactly James that's made you crack up there.
Just looking at Freak Gronk in the comment section, we had a little bit of a talk last week, and he's saying that I haven't managed to rip a vocal cord last week. Yeah, I haven't. My 3 solo commentaries did take its toll, but I'm still here tonight. And hopefully we're going to see some great racing out on track. And he also says, glad to have the fantastic duo back with us tonight as well. Division 4, also to inform you, will be live. Graham Chappell is going to make it on time. Callboy should be alongside him in Division 4, but in Division 5, we're about to get underway here for qualifying. Seen a few comments there as well about joining the league. You can at TTML_F1 on Twitter, at TTML_F1 on Twitter. And while I'm at it, we're both commentating on the 24 Hours of F1 event tomorrow, and that is, of course, at 24 F1 2019, if I'm not mistaken, on Twitter. Support it. We are doing it for a great cause. We've already reached the target that was originally set, even before the event started, so please get involved. It's an event for the community, raced by the community, and truly awe-inspiring, the charity that we are raising it for, of course, young people's mental health, and that's in the William Templeton Foundation. I've been reading up on his story as well. Heartbreaking story, but one that does need to be told and does need to try and break the stigma of mental health. Back to tonight though, Division 5 is about to get underway. Qualifying, we've had dry qualifying throughout so far this week, and the first variable is it's dry again, which I'm very glad in.
Yeah, it does mean that these guys can maximise this great racetrack, and I'm excited to see these guys thunder around. We only have 15 drivers here tonight, a little bit of a letdown to be honest, but hopefully these 15 drivers are still going to provide all the action that we know and love here from TTML Division 5. We're now going to get the first cars out there on the track then. I believe NSR Storm will be the first car out. That seems to be a bit of a recurring theme in this season, I must note. So the Alfa Romeo is going to get out there, and yeah, one thing I always look forward to in a league racing season is Suzuka qualifying. It's just such a fabulous track to just do laps of. You know, really need to push it, and it's one of those tracks, because it's such a classical track, you're going to get punished for your mistakes. Notice that the edges of the track are lined with grass and gravel, punishing any excursion that you have. So these guys are going to have to be on it. One mistake can have massive consequences here.
Yeah, one mistake, especially through the Dunlop curve, I think, could be one of those opportunities. Literally right on cue, Storm Needle are coming through there even before Techno 1. Don't want to commentate his curse anyone before they've set a lap, but he looks a little bit unstable, is all I've got to say. He's trying to warm up the tyres, but try and limit that as much as possible. And he spun coming through the hairpin. That is a pure commentator's curse that you've now seen out on track. And he has spun through the hairpin. There's a Williams just coming through. I think Schmitsky is on an out lap. Yeah, Freak Funk is still in the pit lane. So that is Schmitsky, and that yellow flag in sector 2. Beautiful camera angle, by the way, to see him do that J-turn around, and he's back underway. But Schmitsky now first out on track, and Schmitsky has really been going really great guns, I think, so far. He's been keeping it consistent since he joined the league. He's fourth in the standings coming into tonight. Is it possible he could try and challenge the likes of Jippy, Storm and Maze?
Well, he's going to need a lot going his way in these final 3 rounds, there's no doubt about that, but anything can happen in Grand Prix racing. And yeah, Schmitsky's done a very good job this season, very consistent as you mentioned. Not really made many mistakes over the course of the season. In a season where a lot of drivers have been coming across, where he's really shone and is in that fight. An outside bet for the championship. Let's see how he gets on here today, though, as you now head into turn 1. Then you're going to get onto the brakes as you go through the apex of 1, braking into 2. Hooking the curve on the inside. You don't want to be too aggressive on that. Got to be careful on the throttle. Then you go into the fabulous S section. You've got to carry as much apex speed as you can, but if you deviate from the racing line, then you're going to be losing a lot of time. Let a bit of oversteer, but he's able to control it and wrestle it back onto line. Now to that dumb long curve, the car trying to get away from you on the way through, but he holds it together. Now into the high speed deck the curves. You can see that they're nice and flat through there. there, and then you can see taking it fourth gear a little bit higher than you'll see probably a lot of other drivers using in terms of the gears, but he is just keeping it up there, trying to keep it planted down to the hairpin. You run a little bit wide, but you can afford to do that. Gets a better traction on the way out. Nice straight run there for Schmitzky. It's not looking like a bad lap so far for the Williams driver. Now, as you head through 200R now, into Spoon Curve then. Really take a lot of entry speed on the way out. Got to really be committed here. And then you're balancing that throttle on the way out there. Run it towards the outside curve. And then it's nice and flat out all the way down. Little uphill climb towards the famed 130R corner. Of course, it's going to be easy flat out in these modern F1 cars. But then you're onto the brakes for the Casio Triangle then. Get it all stopped, turn in second gear. Difficult traction zone here on the exit. Get as close to the wall as you dare. And then you're opening that DRS to the light. Schmitzky comes through 1:27.8 to kick off this quali session.
Yeah, not a bad lap there actually from Schmitzky out on track. I think NSR Storms had invalidated or had another spin. Sappy King now coming around the final corner. He's second out on track. I think Mays is behind him on Rock City out on track. Sappy King goes about a second slower. Just seeing who that is coming out the final corner to Rock City. Rock City to the line. Is he going to beat Schmitzky? Yes, you bet he will. 27.2, 6/10 of a second ahead of Schmitzky. Really good lap there from Rock City. And Bart puts his Red Bull as well into third position. He's filling in for Jeffrey tonight. And there is the man there, Invictus. 26.8. McLaren with 5 minutes to go, with 5 minutes gone, I should say, within qualifying. The McLaren out on top. And Mays just dropping into P3 there as well.
Yeah, Mercedes up the front, but again, it's Invictus. His qualifying pace has been nothing short of superb throughout most of this season. Been really on it pretty much every session so far. And if it weren't for a few mistakes in the races, he looked like he may have been a championship contender. Let's see what he can make of it then. Freak Bronk and the Williams next up to cross the line goes fifth, just behind his teammate there. So Williams lining up nicely in what may turn out to be the midfield in this race. You can see Jeps, I'm not exactly sure if that's how you pronounce it, but he does go to the pit lane at the end of the lap, and NSR Storm looked like he came a cropper on that lap, so he's going to try and go again. A few mistakes for the Alfa Romeo so far, and it looks like most of the drivers are going through their first runs. I'm not sure what you've seen, James, but I can definitely hear some drama down there.
Yeah, Nilsson invalidating coming out of Degner 1. He just ran wide coming out of Degner 1, too far off the track, and he's picked up an invalid lap out on track. I think that behind him is Jack Roos just coming through the hairpin, and Jack Roos finishing third, of course, last time out in Singapore. Nilsson needs to get out of the way, doesn't want to come up a cropper like he did last week when he got in the way of, I'm not sure who it was he got in the way. I think it might have been Freak Gronk in qualifying, but Jack Roos coming through Spoon Curve, through 10-14, and on the run towards turns 15 to 18, 130R, and then, of course, the Casio Triangle, of course, out on track. And the Casio Triangle, of course, named not after a Casio cassette player, as you might have had in the 1990s, if you're old enough to remember. Jack Roos is coming into the Casio Triangle, and I believe that is, of course, named after the Japanese manufacturer, and Jack Roos has now pretty much shredded that tape as he comes through the Casio Triangle. He's back into the pits.
Yeah, looked like a decent enough lap as well, but just having to abort that right at the death end. Jimmy Storm next up to cross the line. Championship leader, of course, but doesn't quite go to the top. He's very close to Rock City, but I think he's in front of his main championship rival, Mays, which I think he'll be pretty pleased with early on in this session. Early days, but Invictus yet again is storming through in that qualifying session. Speaking of which, NSR Storm going off the track then at Stuttgart. I'm sorry, that was poor for me. But anyway, moving on, we next have Passels in the Renault coming up to the line. Doesn't go that close to the wall. Then you can cut it a little bit finer, and does go down into 9th place at the moment. Silas just crossing to start a flag lap on the medium tyres, interestingly enough. And I don't think tyre deg is too high at this track, so I'm surprised to see anyone going out the mediums here in quali.
If it's anything like Division 1, you'll see punctures within the last 3 laps of the race if there's a one-stop strategy onto a set of hard compound of tyres. So I think Ryan as well, last night in Division 2, who won the race, he drove absolutely brilliantly. His best drive of his racing career ever in the sim world. And he had 83% tyres on 20-lap-old mediums right at the end of the race. So if that's anything to go by, these guys in Division 5 might have more of a struggle, I think, to keep their tyre temps at the best possible rate for this track. We'll have to see how everyone gets on. I think Nilsson's just came across the line there as well to improve up to 7th. NSR Storm back into the pit lane there with a T-trade. Dane Miles is invalidated. Silas is out there on a set of mediums, and I think he's also invalidated. We've got a yellow flag somewhere, which is now gone. I think it might have been Invictus on an outlap, possibly coming through turn 2.
Yeah, maybe just letting some cars through there. You can see Dales off the last corner. Was invalid, does dive to the pit lane then. So it's a little bit quiet out there at the moment. Everyone's sort of gearing up for their second round. I think Shmetsky may be the first car along in a lap there. The Williams driver going through Dunlop there. And again, look at how unstable it is. The car is always trying to snap on you. He just about keeps it on now. To take he's half a second up. This is a good lap so far. Let's see how he continues it there, going through the second sector now.
Yeah, really good actually coming through the second sector. He's nearly 5.5 tenths up on that lap. Down into the hairpin, runs wide. He's got Invictus just out of the way there to the right hand side. Yeah, he held him up slightly, but Shmitsky now running down the hill in towards Spoon. I think that's cost him about 2 tenths running out wide, because he probably had the dirty air of that McLaren in front of him. Nilsson well out the way this week in terms of the on-track action. Shmitsky now runs down the hill through the exit of the Spoon curve, running down towards 130 once again. And let's see how the Brit can do. And let's see in terms of the middle sector, how's he looking? He's lost 4 tenths of a second. That dirty air really cost him, and that mistake of the hairpin really cost him as well. Now into the Casio triangle. As he now comes through, we've got Rock City on the lap who's just started, I believe, and Shmitsky all out of shape again. I doubt he's going to improve actually across the line. And he does, 2 tenths of a second, to 4th place. But he's 4 tenths off the back of Jibby Storm, and Rock City has just started a lap and will pick up his first sector split any second now. And it's 31.5, he's 1900s up.
Let's see how he keeps this going then. Editec the 2, bit of oversteer there, just about catching it. But that little bit of wheel spin will cost him some time. Let's see how he recovers it. Much tighter line going through the hairpin. You don't want to get your tyres onto that curve on the inside, because it can really spit you out and you can struggle for traction. Rock City though, nice and clean, nice and smooth. Taking the shortest run through 200 on. Now, Spoon curve, how aggressive is he going to be? How brave is he going to be on entry? Uses the outside curving a little bit, runs a little bit wide to the apex. Can he pick up the throttle on exit? Tries to get a straight run down. Your exit off a Spoon curve is so important. It can either gain you or lose you all the way down that straight. How's the lap? He's down at the moment, so that maybe that run through Spoon really costing him there. Can he make up some time to the Casio triangle? Gets it stopped very early on the turn end there. That can compromise his run through. Is it even going to be an improvement? It's a little bit slow going off the corner as well. Rock City up to the line. Not an improvement. So just a bit of a scrappy end to the lap there, holding him back. Invictus is 2 tenths up coming out of the first sector. Now through the middle sector, he's 500ths up. He is still up on his time. Yellow flags are still appearing out on track. It might be a little bit of a glitch, I wonder, out on track. As now, Invictus comes round. That's Shmitsky just ahead of him out on track. He's coming into the pit lane. And Invictus decides to dive into the pit lane. Didn't think he got the best run. In fact, he's actually run out of fuel coming out of the final 2 corners. And Invictus into the pit lane, running out of fuel. 7 minutes to go. He's still out on top. Rock City there in second, Jibby Storm in third. Jack Roos, by the way, went up to 5th, 27.6, and he's only 300ths of a second off the back of Shmitsky. And look at how close Mays is as well, 1400ths of a second off the back of Jack Roos as well. So that's what, 600ths of a second covered by 3 drivers? Very, very tight in that region of the field. You could be certain of that. But we still have 6 minutes for these drivers to all find their time. But so far, Invictus has looked pretty imperious up at the front. But we will still have a lot of drivers to try and step up and challenge that mark. Who's the furthest along in a flying lap? I wonder. I think it may well be Dave Miles. Storm? No, yeah, Storm back into the pit lane. Yeah. Yes, so it's his teammate Dane Miles, I think, who's the next furthest along. Now braking into the hairpin, gets a slow down about 70 k's an hour, running out onto the curb on the outside. We don't see most drivers doing that, so he's really looking to maximise the track width here. And let's see how attacking he's going to be into Spoon curve. They'd see a lot of entry speed, runs a little bit wide to the apex, scoops it back into line, again running a bit wide, fighting the car on the exit, and now you're picking it back up there. He might get a little bit of a slipstream from the McLaren in front there. He decides to stay out of it. They're not risking creeling into the back of him. He's a 111 flat for the second sector. That's not bad. It might be around the Maze to Freak Bronc sort of region. Again, a bit hesitant on the turn end. Those going to run a little bit wide. Scoops it back, recovers the line well. Going through the final corner at the Casio Triangle. Opens up the DRS line, and it's 4th. So he does find a lot of time and jumps up to that ever-increasing amount of drivers on a 127.6 at the moment. Bart coming up to the line, he's invalidated, and he backed off it either way. So I'm not sure who's going to be next onto the lap, but that was a good lap from Dave Miles, goes onto the second row for now.
Yeah, not a bad lap there at all. I think Nilsson might be the next one to come across the line. He's coming through the slithering snake section, as I like to call it here in Japan. That was coined, of course, in Division 1 when I first said that this week. Bart, however, has retired through the session. That's through turn 4, where he's retired that, and I think he's actually crashed that car out on track. But right above with Jimmy Storm, he's just gone onto the lap, and he's off to the left-hand side. There he is. You can see him just flashing through. Bart off, pretty much where Callboy and Trippy Jeff went off in qualifying last night in Division 2. And Bart is the first victim of the slithering snake section.
I think he must have caught that curve at turn 3 that could always spit you out, send you off, and that's exactly what has happened there. Unfortunate for Bart, he will start no higher than 12th position on the grid. Let's keep an eye out to see the next lap times coming in. So let's look at the McLaren of Nielsen. He was about half a second down in that first sector. How's the second sector? He's wrestled some time back, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to pull it off. Let's see. How's the run through the Casio Triangle? Is he brave on the brakes? He gets into the second gear, slight lock-up, but it's not really going to cost him. Now, balancing that throttle on the exit, scoops it back in now to the line. Nilsson currently 9th, goes up to 8th for a good last sector. Puts the McLaren up in front of Brooks Williams. Now, let's keep an eye on Jimmy Storm. No, he's backed off the lap. So he must have made a mistake, and he's still got about 4 minutes to go, but he's going to have to rush, get that car back going again. So I'm not sure if anyone is actually on a flying lap. I think Passel's maybe will be the only one in the Renault coming through the going through the first sector, sorry. About 4/10 up at the moment is the Renault.
Yeah, he's running up the hairpin now. He has got Jimmy Storm's teammate Salas just in front of him, also on a lap, but he's invalidated as Salas out on track, so hopefully he'll be able to give a little bit of tow to the Belgian in front. A little bit of a squiggly exit there from Passels as Salas gets out of the way to the left-hand side. Still Invictus out on top, Rock City second, Jimmy Storm in third. Graham Chappell has just gone live, by the way, for Division 4, so if you are on tenterhooks and you want to tune in for Division 4, you can. If you want to tune in to the GOAT commentary team here in Division 5, then of course you can do that as well. Have to do that. Passel's now coming through the middle sector. 112 flat. He's 7/10 up actually on this lap, and he will try and improve, especially through this final sector, in towards the Casio Triangle. Again, again another car that seems to be going for the middle line approaching Casio Triangle to try and get the best exit possible. Remember, there's no bump there on the inside, and Passels doesn't improve his position, but he's 8 thousandths off the back of Bart. He remains in 13th position. Jimmy Storm has just gone on to another lap, and Schmitsky is on a lap there as well. We'll catch on board with Jimmy Storm, who I think is next to come across the line.
Let's see how he gets it. There's a nice exit coming off of Spoon Curve, then up in his 7th gear. He's got about almost 4 tenths to find on Invictus. So how's the second sector? He's 2 tenths up. It will at least get in front of Rock City, I think, if he nails this final chicane. Let's see how he does it. Very, very wide on the entry and scoops it in. That's a nice entry line. Really attacking the circuit curve as well. That was a fantastic run. Getting right up to the wall as well. Is he going to challenge Invictus pole time? It's going to top it. Jimmy Storm on to provisional pole position by half a 10. But Invictus is still out there. He is still going to look to improve further. So who else is going to be the next to step up to the plate? I was watching Schmitsky, but he gets it all wrong, going through a Spoon, and he's going to have to back that off. Surely he'll have lost a heap of time in the Williams. Now has to recover. But Jimmy Storm, he has been dominant in recent rounds, and yet again stepping up to the plate. And the question is now, can anyone else in fact challenge that time of Jimmy Storm, and will he hold on to a critical pole position here?
I'll give you a simple one-word answer to where I think this qualifying going. No. I don't think he'll hang on. I think Invictus will get pole position here. He's coming through the first sector now. Let's see what his first sector time is. He's 2 tenths up already. And that is just the clarification on top of the cherry, I think, in terms of out-on-track action. Jimmy Storm is out in front, 126.809, 126.856. Invictus, really nice line coming through the hairpin, the best I've seen all night, as he now comes down towards Spoon. There are other drivers on laps as well. I think Mays is on a lap. He's just coming through the S section, if I'm not mistaken. Rock City preparing up for his lap. Gronk, I think, preparing up for lap, about to come across the line, it seems. Freak Ronk doesn't improve on his time, but here comes Invictus, passes Jibby Storm. Is that a sign of things to come? Running down in towards the second sector split. I think he's 5/10 up through here. He's not, he's 600 up.
It's going to be close.
And this is going to be close. He's still theoretically out on pole position currently. He's got Nelson rejoining track, I think, just in front of him. He's off to the right-hand side. Invictus, not the greatest run. I think he's lost the time. Coming out the final corner, Invictus across the line. And he did lose the time. 4,000th of a second. That thin line by Jibby Storm might have just secured him pole position. But we've got Maze on the lap now. 4/10 up, coming towards 130R. And I'll let you commentate because I'm running out of breath.
And he has quite a quarter of a second up to the second sector. He can jump maybe out towards his teammates. So let's see how this is going to go for TTG Maze. Rounding now the Casio Triangle. Gets a decent enough exit. And is he going to cut it close to the wall? He's going to go pretty close. Now opens up that DRS to the line. It's 5th place. Only for Maze. He lost a little time in that last sector. And it is emphatically advantage Jibby Storm at the moment. How can Rock City fare in the Mercedes? So here we go now. He's limited on fuel. Let's see how he does. Climbing up to 130R. How quick is it? It is quick. He is right on this now. Can Rock City snatch pole position here? Now, onto the brakes. Into the Casio Triangle. Little bit hesitant on entry. Takes it in third gear. Wants to get traction on the way out now. Now, to the line. Is it going to be pole position for Rock City in the Mercedes? Yes, it is. And by a huge margin of 126.4. That is sensational from Rock City. Is Invictus still out there? He is up. Going through the second sector, but not by much. He might overhaul Jimmy Storm, but is he going to snatch pole position? I honestly don't think so.
Oh, no,
he gets a massive oversteer into the gravel, and Invictus bows out. His banker lap was his fastest, and he retires. Hopefully that doesn't interrupt anyone. Next up, Sammy King. He is backed off a lap then in the Ferrari. Cross the line, and next up is going to be Jeps. He's also bowed out of it. That is qualifying in Rock City, a storming lap. What a pole position that is.
He's 4/10 of a second ahead of Jibby Storm. Just let that sink in. Jibby Storm, who is championship leader coming into tonight, has been absolutely mullered in qualifying from Rock City with an absolute stonking lap. 126.492. Just for a reference point as well, Division 4 I think at the end of their qualifying session as well, and I'll just try and see what was the pole position lap, and they're coming right to the end, and currently it is Faxland out on top with I can't see on the screen, a 126, that's all I can say, a 126 out on track. I think it's a 126.2 from Faxland if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 126.205 is the lap time. So 2/10 off Faxland's time in Division 4 currently out on track. But Rock City, look at that, 3/10 of a second ahead of Jibby Storm. Invictus in third, the king of qualifying normally, bowing out to Rock City's lap. Jack Roos there in fourth, Daymars in fifth. If you haven't seen a sparser grid than this, top 5 is separated by a second out on track, including Mason in that, it's top 6. Schmitsky in 7th with Jips in 8th. Hopefully I pronounced that name right. Nilsson in 9th with Freak Ronk in 10th. Sappy King 11th. Bart in 12th. Passels 13th. Storm did manage to get a lap in 14th. Silas well down there in 15th position. I don't think we've had anybody else join the session either. So Rock City out on top. And that is the perfect way to make your statement for a possible championship bid. Jibby Storm in behind you. Maze down in 6th.
Yes, and it is going to be massively helpful for Mercedes more than anything, I think, in that constructors battle. They have a lead, but it is certainly not enough to secure it, and that's going to be massively helpful. Rock City, we've seen his quality pace. Oh, look at that! Just the conditions, a little bit ominous there, with heavily overcast conditions. I wonder if that's going to turn. A little bit of rain here, that could really spice things up, and that will keep an eye out for maybe the strategies outside the top 10. You mentioned this track can be tire wear limited, so we'll see how that is going to unfold. Of course, we're waiting for everyone to ready up, and I can actually see mediums on a couple of cars outside the top 10 just from my screen. So we'll see how that's going to unfold. But yeah, I'm still getting over that. Rock City, that was sensational. And I genuinely think that Invictus probably had the pace to do that sort of lap, but just didn't put it together. And it means now the McLaren driver has an awful lot of work to do to recover in the race.
Yeah, when time comes to it, the feelings of out on track can really affect you, and that's what happened to Invictus, I think, out on track in terms of his lap. It's going to be a fantastic race, I'm sure. We're about to get going. We're just waiting on Gyps now to waiting for plays. I hope this is not the sign of things to come. Out on track. Please ready up, or please leave the session. Your choice. I would prefer the latter, to be honest, if you are going to hold us up. But hopefully we're going to get underway very soon indeed. I'm holding my breath to say anything else. I don't want to say anything else. But if it happens, we will be back live, hopefully very soon indeed, to take you through the action for the race, certainly, as Gyps might just have to leave. He will be allowed one rejoin, so you can do this. He can leave the session, he can rejoin back, but only the once. That's a new rule that's been put in, of course, since last week in Singapore. And I really hope he does leave for the benefit of, well, we've got nothing else to talk about bar that spinny circle that's going around next to his name.
It's an enthralling screenshot that we have.
There we are.
He is ready up. Okay, and now everyone else appears to be.
I'm seeing
the cars leave. Yeah, I'm seeing the cars leave, but I've not got any heads-up display.
I haven't got any heads-up display. I'm pressing triangle, square, bloody start button. No, nothing happening.
Got no audio either.
No audio. Yeah. Oh, there we are.
Oh, there we go.
Literally, as you say that, he's just left the session. So that's probably why he left the session. The cars went off, and it's been a little bit of a glitch out on track. But we can bring you now the tyre strategy and everything out on track. And he would have been starting, of course, on a set of soft compounder tyres. He can rejoin back. I'm sure he's listening in, and he's recognised that. Rock City down to Freak Fronk, all on the same compounder tyres. There's the predicted pit stop strategy appearing on my end. Lap 9 to 10 for a set of softs to a set of hards. If you go on that strategy, it's pretty much going to be the one stop right to the end of the race. But we've had early safety cars in both Division 1 and Division 2 this week so far. Are we going to see another early safety car, and how crucial could that be towards the outcome of the race?
It's very hard to predict, and I think that's been a bit of a pattern throughout this entire season, is unpredictability. So we'll keep an eye out on that, but yeah, it's going to be very, very exciting. So yeah, we'll see. I think the safety cars, they can certainly obviously have an effect. I think what it will do for people on the medium tires, it will kind of negate some of their advantage, and it will favour the soft runners more so if it comes early in the race, because it means that their tire deg will be less exaggerated. We'll see how it works out. We only have 3 drivers on our strategy, so we'll see how they can fare off the start. And particularly Silas there in the hard, see if he can hang on to the back of the queue.
It's going to be a fascinating race. We are waiting on everyone to filter through 130R, and hopefully this is going to be a fantastic night's worth of action out on track. And Japan is one of the tracks I'm covering tomorrow night, of course, in the 24 Hours of F1 event. So I'm looking forward to doing a double stint, essentially. I've commentated over the track all week, so I've got a track map and everything at the ready, which is going to be fantastic. I think V8 Field is going to join me for that one. Daniel Field, of course, my regular League of Europe F1 Division 1 co-commentator. He's going to be taking us through that. I'm purposely rambling on so I don't have to give you a top 3 prediction, as I want to get straight into the race tonight. So yeah, we're not even from Dan. Yeah, we're not even from Dan about his top 3 tonight. Yeah, but we are waiting now on the grid, and we are about to get underway. Hopefully these 5 red lights do go out straight away, and they do. Rock City on pole, Jimmy Storm alongside him. Long hole, but it's lights out and away we go. Very good start indeed. I think Gyps has taken control of his car, gets a really good start. In fact, this is an AI car as Jimmy Storm runs down towards turn 1, alongside Rock City. Rock City holds the lead just about. Jimmy Storm trying to force it down the inside line. Level of chaos further down the field. I think Parcells and Bart catch him in a bit of a collision. Jimmy Storm tries to go down the inside. There's the yellow flag in sector 1-3. Gronk is round. Gyps is now joined out on track, but Rock City leads. Coming through the S section for the first time. Jimmy Storm second and Victor's third. Day Miles is up the fourth. Good stuff from him. With Javru's fifth. Mason 6th, Schmitsky 7th, Nilsson I think got Gyps' AI and he's up through into 8th position. Schmitsky's right on the back of Mays, running down and through Deckler 1 for the first time. Sammy King on the back of a set of mediums as a car off. Schmitsky running wide then. Nilsson is through. Nilsson through and he's up into 7th. Schmitsky making a mistake, and now we've got Sammy King and Salas all over the back of them as they come into the hairpin for the first time, and Jav Roos and Day Miles now have made positions. So Jav Roos is now through on Day Miles and he's up in the 4th.
Yeah, that's a very impressive start there. Jadro swapping places with the males twice on the lap then. Up at the front, Jimmy Storm trying to hang with Rock City, was fighting him all the way down to turn 3, couldn't quite get him done however. I think I'll see D Miles running a little bit wide there, getting a bit out of shape, going through a smooth curve, and is he still okay on that front wing? I'm just looking around because he is certainly under a bit of pressure down there. Left side inplay is gone, so now Maze leading on towards the Casio triangle there to the inside. Line breaks very, very late. Does Maze, can he get it stopped? D Miles is out wide. D Miles running off in the Alpha Romeo. Surely he's going to have to pit Milton, but he's not got any space to pull in there. He just about finds it, pulls into the pit lane as now Schmidt's going to fight back, trying to line up Nilsson in the McLaren. Nilsson pulls to the inside line, but he's going to hold station there in that place. You can see Schmidt's running a line a bit wide and behind. So that is the first lap in the books. So you have Storm in the pit lane. Dave Miles in there. Not sure what you see, James. We see yellow flags in sector 3. There's no cause there though.
That was Silas trying to get the move done on Bart, was what I was looking at. Sammy King has gone off coming through the S section, and that is Bart through. Silas runs out wide. The ghosting system, of course, does fail on this game. So Sammy King all the way down the field. I think he's down in 14th position, if I'm not mistaken, out on track. Oh, he's certainly down. There's a car off. Jips is off. Jips is off to the right-hand side. Oh, there's contact. Sammy King. Ghosting system has failed again, and he's round, and he's got right side end plate damage. Jips has spun round, I think, when taking control of his car, and that 10-second time penalty definitely needs to be removed.
Yeah, that was not the greatest showing from Codemaster's part, it must be said. And yeah, several drivers coming across for just the first few laps. Look at Jimmy Storm though, he is putting a pressure on now. Rock City, who covers towards the inside line to 130R. So Jimmy Storm lining it up now, and he will get DRS on the next lap. So let's see it. He is right on the rear wing of it. Look at this. Heading down into the Casio Triangle. And a little bit defensive there for Rock City. It is under immense pressure here. The Racing Point, the championship leader, is right there with him. Invictus is right there as well. And now over the line then the third lap of this race. Now commences fastest lap from Invictus. He is flying. And Jimmy Storm trying to close up to Rock City. He'll hang back for now. It's a difficult track to overtake. And these guys all just holding station. Jimmy Storm pressuring, but Rock City just holding firm at the front for the moment.
Yeah, Jimmy Storm is really putting pressure on Rock City, but this is exactly the same scenario he was in last week in Singapore. He was putting the leader under pressure right from the get-go, and Jimmy Storm is managing that very nicely indeed. Look at Jack Roos beginning to come into contention as well. Yeah. Jack Roos is latching onto the back of this front four. Mays has got Nilsson to deal with, and there's a yellow flag in sector 2, and Silas has run, and Passels has been caught up in a collision as well. They both make contact coming through the S section, through turns 4 and 5, and then through 6. So Silas is ahead of Passels. I think Passels might have tried to go down the inside possibly, and Silas now, both of them I think have got damage, if I'm not mistaken. There's slight damage on Silas's car. Passels has certainly lost his left side end plate out on track, but both of them getting caught up in a collision early on. Sammy King and then I saw Storm, by the way, on a set of hard compound tyres, but Rock City's pulling away out on track, and the cloud is still beginning to build here out on track. I wouldn't be surprised, you know, if we start to see spots of rain very soon indeed.
Yeah, that is going to be so unpredictable. We see some penalties being racked up there. Dave Miles went into the pit lane on the last lap, so he's definitely committed to a two-stop strategy out there. A lot of drivers coming to blows in just the first few laps in the field, already quite scattered. I saw Jimmy Storm made a little bit of a mistake for the Casio Triangle. If he gets a good enough exit, he will hold back Invictus for the time being, and Jaffrus trying to stay in contact. You can see the DRS now in order, but there won't be any moves, I think, going down the main straight. So Rock City holding the front, and at the moment driving perfectly, and Nilsson on down the inside gets the move done. Nilsson threw it at 5th place, and Mays really struggling out there. He started to say Nilsson, a bit of oversteer coming off the second corner, and again going through turn 3. He's really fighting that McLaren, but he is up into 5th, and the championship contender Mays having a tough time of it there. Can't move forward at all at the moment.
I honestly think Nilsson used up the majority of his overtake mode out on the track to try and get that move done on Mays. He is now through. Passels, by the way, has just been overtaken by Dave Miles. He's into the pit lane, actually, as Passels. Looking at the penalties, that Gyps's 10-second time penalty probably will be removed. Schmidtsky and Dave Miles have got 3-second time penalties again. Mays trying to look for the move on Nilsson. I'm going to have to love you and leave you, though, but I will go on board with the battle for second between Jimmy Storm and Invictus, and also Mays and Nilsson, which I'm on board with now.
So here we go then, let's keep an eye out, see any moves shaping up then. It's pretty static in this area of the field, everyone just forming in a line, and the battle up at the front, you can see if you look at the gaps there on the left hand side, Jimmy Storm and Rock City, a bit of a battle there for DRS, and Rock City trying to break the championship leader behind, and he's very close to doing so, but Jimmy Storm the Dutchman just about able to stay in contact for now. Invictus though is piling that pressure on, still a little bit of a chirp for the rear tires on the racing point. He now powers away and still holds on to that DRS, but Invictus is using his overtake mode. He's trying to get up to them, a quarter of a second back, but it will be a quarter of a second too far back to make any moves going into the first corner. Jimmy Storm the way very way through turn 2, and can Invictus pick up the throttle? No, he cannot quite draw alongside, but again Jimmy Storm going through the grass. He's really struggling out there, running away, getting off the racing line. He's lucky Invictus having to follow in that dirt here where overtaking is nearly impossible, but Rock City has a break. Rock City 1.1 seconds clear, and that is vital that he can bring that DRS. Now can sort of run his own race, because Jimmy Storm is in big trouble here. Look at Invictus getting so close on the brakes, and to take the turn, is he going to go for it then? He pulls towards the inside line and turns in, sweeping down right inside of the hairpin. Can he get that one done? He's going the long way round. Is Invictus trying to get better traction on the way out, but Jimmy Storm will hold him off. The 200 Invictus is coming back almost to the grass, right on the outside. He claims the outside line for a smooth curve there. Getting himself in front and up in a second place is Invictus. Superb stuff. And now the McLaren runs through, and Jimmy Storm had to yield that. He had nothing to fight with. He was all over the place that lap, losing the rear end, getting off the racing line, and Invictus takes full advantage, gets up into that P2, but he is 1.6 seconds back from OWR. Rock City, who continues to lead them out at the moment. They're driving superbly at the front of this race. We have the Airlows there in the first section. That's Satmy King going off, dropping already to the back of the field, and now Jimmy Storm looking to fight back now on Invictus. He's got the DRS. Invictus pulling to the inside line there, covering it, then round the outside. Jimmy Storm, can he go all the way round? No, it's coming off. Invictus a little bit late, daring on the brakes, but he will get it stopped, turned in and through. He now runs second and consolidates that. Now, can he use his pace? We saw how impressive he was in qualifying. Couldn't get the lap together in the end, but he is hungry for redemption here after a championship charge that has faded away in recent rounds. Invictus is flying now. Can he get up to Rock City? That gap is already down by about 3-4 tenths of a second. So the McLaren driver on a charge, and Rock City's going to have to try and get through. No mistakes can be made, but can he hold back this furious charge for Invictus? He's already nearly there. And now it's Jimmy Storm again, who's really struggling again for traction there. You can see him baiting the rear end, trying to get away from him there, and the championship leader struggling. He's lucky that his nearest rival, Mays, is still bottleneck behind Nilsson and a few seconds adrift. So Mays off the pace here. Yellows again. That's Silas going off to the first sector. So many drivers being caught out by this very tricky, tight and twisty Suzuka track, and you can see the mistakes creeping in for many of the drivers in this early phase of the race. So here we are now, coming to the end of the 6th lap of proceedings here, and the pit window will be opening up very soon. Expect pit stops in the next 2 to 3 laps coming very soon. They can't pit now though, otherwise they're surely going to run out of tyres to the end of the race. So let's see how this battle continues to unfold. I can see, I can hear my Mr. Co-commentator. I'm very sorry, James. James Head is back with us here. Thanks for abandoning me, but just to fill you in, Invictus got past Jimmy Storm. Brilliant move down there at the hairpin. He now runs second and chasing down Rock City in the race lead.
Yeah, so Invictus a second behind on Rock City. I was just checking an Amazon order, which is why I was listening in for that remainder of the 6th lap there. That Invictus beginning to close up on Rock City, and that I think was Rock City making a slight mistake, if I'm not mistaken, out on track. I just saw the car get a little bit twitchy, and now Invictus closes in 6 tenths of a second, running up towards the hairpin out on track. This Mercedes is running all out, this McLaren I should say, is running all over the back of the Mercedes out on track. Further down the field, Mays hasn't got past Nilsson just yet. 3-second time penalty as well for Satmy King, but as you alluded to, I think everyone is struggling with the first sector out on track. It looks like they've actually tried to go for a bit more of a speed setup rather than a downforce driven setup around here at Japan, and you should never go for a straight setup because there's hardly any straights, and Invictus is closing up to the back of Rock City, up in towards 130R, 4 tenths of a second. I think he might have a go down in towards turn 1 here.
Let's see. Oh, massive wobble from Rock City's car there. A bit of lag as well. Yeah, a bit of a lag spike there, putting him off. Invictus, though, is lining him up now. He's low on overtake, but so is Rock City. In fact, he's even low. But he's using the last of it to try and stay in front of the pit window. Now opening up, and Nilsson into the pit lane already. They're on lap 7. Invictus looking to the inside line. Has he put off Rock City? No, the Mercedes driver keeps his cool yet again. He was put under heavy pressure from Jimmy Storm in the opening laps. He knows how to handle this up at the front. Invictus couldn't get through just yet. So we have 2 cars from the pit lane, Nilsson and Freak Brock. We'll see how the undercut works, and we'll see those hards, which we know will be stressed on tyre work and get to the end of the race. But expect a busy pit lane at the end of this lap.
If I was in Invictus's position right now, through that first sector, I would be saving up as much ERS as possible to try and have a go at him and try and unsettle the car down in towards the hairpin, because Kvyat went off, of course, back in the day, back in the old school Formula 1 in 2014, I think it was, when he was in Red Bull. Yes, that is so long ago, I know. Rock City leading the way, though. Invictus now down the hill begins to put him under pressure. Look at the closing speed once again, and Rock City again lag spikes out on track. Hopefully it's not a sign of things to come, but Invictus is right on the back. Freak Gronk as well onto the back of Day Miles further down the field. They're just coming through in towards the Dunlop curve through the Degners. Will right on board, though, with the battle for the lead still. Invictus once again, I think, could try and have a run down in towards turn 1. It looks inevitable that I think he will have a run down in towards turn 1, but they've got to be wary of the tyres around here. There's been no safety cars so far, no VSCs so far out on track either, and Rock City is in from the lead of the race, so he actually is the one that undercuts through. Jimmy Storm, by the way, has made a mistake, I think, out on track, and he is now into the pit lane. Jack Roos also into the pit lane out on track, and Freak Gronk is through on Day Miles, and that's around the outside of Spoon. Brilliant move.
Wow, that is sensational. Freak Rock moving through, and then up into that 10th place. Interestingly enough, we have Rock City and Jimmy Storm. They've gone on the medium tyres. Can they possibly do the race distance? Yeah, you think so. So they are going to emerge then. So we're seeing a difference in strategy. Rock City will emerge. He is in front of Jeps. He is going to be well in front of Jimmy Storm then. I know Jimmy Storm nearly losing it going through turn 1. He just holds it together, but my oh my, that was a scary moment for the Racing Point. He's really pushed it, and he's made so many little errors, and that one nearly got away from it fully. Jimmy Storm, cold tyres, tried to attack that first corner, paid for it, and my oh my, how is he still pointing in the right direction?
He went right through Dunlop curve as well. Nearly had a little bit of a moment coming through there as well. But Jimmy Storm, he just got caught on the curb coming through turn 1. He just had a little bit more greed, I think, on that curb than what was necessary. And out on track, in terms of Invictus to him, out on track, as I look through the wrong thing, 24.6 seconds is currently the gap between Invictus and Jimmy Storm. Around here, it's what, a 22, 23 second pit stop? So I think Invictus is fine for now if he does decide to come in. My imagination, though, is everyone has now pitted on for a set of mediums who came into the pit lane. Some have gone for a set of hards. That means, I think, this track is going to get quicker and quicker as we go through. We're a third of the way through. Sammy King is into the pit lane again for speeding, and Invictus is in from the lead of the race. Rock City is coming through the Casio Triangle now, and Jimmy Storm is catching to the back of Jips, 6th and 7th. And Jips, has he got the chips out on track to try and lay down on the poker table? I'm still going. Jimmy Storm on the back, but Jimmy Storm, the storm has come, and Jimmy Storm is through, and he's into the lead, and he's got ahead of Invictus, I think, as well. No, Rock City is ahead of Invictus, but Jimmy Storm joins 2 seconds behind, but he's through, and he's up into 6th.
Yeah, Jimmy Storm getting that move done, then Invictus trying to work that overcut, didn't quite work out. He's on the hard tyres compared to Rock City's mediums. Interesting strategy calls. We'll see, he's going to struggle to stay with the Mercedes a little bit more now. Surely, I'm not sure what's so funny there, James.
I've just realised, I think he might have gone for my strategy that I told him before the race. Because I told him, if he gets to about, if there's a safety car, you shouldn't go to 21 laps on a set of hard compounded tyres. He's going to be going 17 laps, which are very manageable out on track. And I think for a set of hards, they're going to be quite even towards the end of the race, to be honest. As the yellow flag in Sector 3, I think that is NSR Storm who has gone off. And that is at the final corner. There's not even a bump there, so how's he done that? As Mays leading the way, 2.4 seconds out on track. Schmidtski in second, Bart in third. I imagine that my co-commentator's controller has just disconnected, like mine might.
I'm here.
You're here. I heard it in the background, so that's why I had to say that. Invictus on the back though of Rock City. 7/10 of a second. Schmitzky into the pit lane as well. Bart still continuing on. He's, of course, on a set of soft compound of tyres trying to last maybe to the mediums to the end of the race. Jack Roos, though, I thought he was going to get the move done on Jips, but Jips is into the pit lane, and now Jack Roos spawns into P6. But Jack Roos has been the big loser out of the pit lane. Did he have a front wing change or something? Because he's lost, what, 4 seconds, basically, to the back of Invictus and Jibby Storm.
Yeah, that's very
Even
surprising. Then maybe just the driver error. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. Yeah, you do. I think a front wing change on this game, maybe about a 5 to 6 second time loss, if being realistic. So yeah, maybe, but that does seem quite extreme. It's not that much of a time loss. So I'm wondering what exactly is going on down there with the Renault there. So let's keep going there. Let's keep an eye out there. Chatter's about 3 seconds out behind this lead trio. Jimmy Storm has made up some ground. He is now getting up to the back of the front two. He was a few seconds behind Rocksteady and Invictus before the pit stop, but despite the errors he was making, he has managed to claw his way back, and now we have company up at the front. All these guys catching up to Mr. TTG_FC Bart. Let's see how this is going to unfold. This could really shake up the story at the front of this race. Is the Red Bull going to dive to the pit lane on this lap? That's one thing I'm going to ask first, because Rocksteady is charging up to his rear wing, and he will certainly not want to be held up, not at this stage in the race. Maze from the race lead has gone into the pit lane there, so he's bowed out on those tyres. Bart in the Red Bull does dive to the pit lane, and look at Invictus. He's clawed his way back, and he's on the overtake then, as I'm getting a fantastic little drone shot there.
He's going to go down the inside.
DRS open. Is he going to open it up then? He's going to look to the inside line. No, just hangs back at the moment, but he runs a little bit wide there, going through one, just holds on to it. But Invictus on the charge, despite these hard tyres, he's making the most of it, and he is again putting tremendous pressure on the race leader here.
He is putting tremendous pressure on. It's because he's using up the overtake mode to compare to Rock City. But in theory, actually, Invictus has got better ERS management than Rock City ahead of him. Jibby Storm's got better ERS management, and he's on a set of mediums, and he's catching now. These front two, because they're running that dirty air period, Rock City and Invictus just getting caught in up in one of each other's tails, and Jibby Storm is on the back of these two guys out on track. Mark, by the way, has tuned in and is saying, come on, Schmitzky. We're 1 subscriber, by the way, from 750 on League Racing TV. Our plan, certainly, of getting 1,000 by the end of the year hasn't worked, but if we can get 750 by the end of tonight, I will be very, very happy, that's for sure. Mark also saying he's given me a shout out for the 24 hours of donation, of course, and now Invictus going down the inside line towards 130. Oh, I think this is quite tactical actually from Rock City. Invictus is through, but Rock City is going to get the DRS. The DRS detection zones into the Casio Triangle. He is going to try and pinpoint a move down in towards turn 1. Let's see the outcome of this. As now we run on board with Rock City on the back of Invictus, and again you can see the overtake mode coming out the final corner, and exactly what I've just said might just come true, as he's now going to have a run down towards turn 1. Tactics at its finest down in towards turn 1. He's around the outside, he's through. Brilliant. Rock City through, and he's in towards the lead of the race. Invictus is second, and Rock City is through. Not like Senna and Prost in 1989 around here, but Rock City leading now out on track from Invictus. And Jimmy Storm has just latched into the DRS train.
Yeah, he's right there with them. I certainly think Rock City and Invictus doing a much better job than those boys did back in '89. That is for sure. They are still in the race, quite thankfully for us. Looking for a big spectator show here. Let's see if Invictus can measure this a bit better this time. That DRS on the main straight is so crucial to setting up a move. Maybe Invictus just wants to bide his time a little bit more in the future laps. And again, I'm not sure if you've seen another lap. Is that in the stream chat? What you've seen, James?
No, this is my shout out on Twitter. I'm just having a look. All of the comments are great. They are in fact legends, but absolutely the best commentator in the world who sounds like a smoggy. Wrong area. That's further down south, about 45 minutes away from me, Mark. James has donated this year as well as giving his time, and considering he lives up north, it's a miracle he has bread, let alone money. Thank you. Thank you. We are very poor up here in northern England. In the northeast, Storm is out of the race. He's crashed out of the final corner. I wonder if there's a safety car going to be deployed.
Yes!
Safety car deployed.
Oh, here we go.
And this now turns the race completely on its head. No, none of them pitching in. There he is, just off to the left-hand side. He's lost it coming through the final corner, similar to what we saw in qualifying. And everyone now, luckily the safety car's already out on track, and Nilsson is in. set of hards. I think he'll switch on to the mediums to make it to the end. Yeah, yellow wall tyre coming out in the pit lane. And Schmidtsky as well. I think he's going to put on a fresh set of rubber. Onto a set of mediums he will go. And he is going to be coming into the pit lane as well. Mark, I thank you for that, by the way. I have retweeted it and liked that comment. And, of course, if you do want to tune in for that 24 Hours of F1 event, you can. I remember Jimmy Broadbent retweeting us last year about it. Freak Ronk, by the way, got held up in the pit lane there. Mechanics are ready, but he's lost about 5 seconds as a result of that. And now out of the pit lane he comes. He will rejoin in 10th position. And we're now under a little bit of a lull period in the race because the safety car is now out and Rock City leads at the halfway stage from Invictus in second, Jibby Storm in third. In terms of the current championship prospectus out on track, it's Jibby Storm once again outscoring Jack Roos and Mays, his two closest pursuers out on track.
Yes, but now they are right there with him. Mays in particular has some pressure tyres underneath him, so do not count him out of this race just yet. There is still an awful long way to go here. So let's see now. Of course, everyone now queued up behind that safety car. The rest of the field will latch on to the back of it in the next lap or two, and then we can get back to green flag racing in the second half here at this Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka. So Invictus, he's going to have another shot at getting past Rock City. This time they both have a full battery to deploy, so there's going to be a bit more creative freedom, if you like, with the overtakes, and we'll see if Invictus can launch any surprises. I think Invictus, on balance, has been the fastest driver tonight. I'm not sure if you agree with me there, James, but he's certainly put the pressure on, and even though he's on hard tyres, he has looked quicker than Rock City. He's looked quicker than Jimmy Storm. Now, he just needs to get the move done on track, and those hard tyres surely are just going to come into their own even further in the remaining laps in the race.
They will, but I think, honestly, Rock City, we saw Ryan last night, last 20 laps on that set of mediums. Now, it's not going to be the same. It's going to be about 18 laps, I think, for Rock City when he gets to the end of the race. It still could be puncture territory out on track. 18 laps is, if you don't manage those tyres effectively enough, you will pick up a puncture on that set of mediums. So Sappy King has retired out of the race in the pit lane. And it's a bit questionable. He was a lap down, don't get me wrong, but the safety car would have let lap cars through, I think, and he would have still been in on the lead lap. So, yeah, I mean, you don't know. You don't know what's going through drivers' minds, to be honest, in terms of that. There's points available. That's all I'm thinking. There's points available out on track. Such a shame. But Sapmi King and Storm, to the one of the OWR boys and one of the NSR boys, both out of the race as well. But Rock City leading the race. And I'll just at him actually on Twitter. Well, not during when we're in the race, obviously. Well, I'll just read out his tweet that he mentioned in us earlier. He'll hope he can bring us good racing tonight, and it's been a disappointing season so far. So hope I can show off my good pace tonight and maybe fight for top 3.
Oh.
There's the future. He's in the lead of the race and he's fighting for a top... He's not fighting for a top 3, he's fighting for the win.
Let's see if a win is what he's going to be rewarded with at the end of the night. So here we go then. I think passes will latch out to the back, and it's one of the less dramatic safety car restarts. There's some lag there. Rock City's got behind Invictus, he's lagged backwards, and has Invictus now just inherited the race lead for good? Is he going to let him through? That's very puzzling. I'm
here with an open mouth. I'm speechless as to what I've just seen. And Invictus, he would have got a 5-second penalty by now if he was to let him through. He would have got a 5-second penalty. Safety car, I think, when we come up to the rise in towards 130R, we should see it come in this lap. Perfect timing. And Invictus is now essentially the safety car. He's the virtual Burn Marlander, and he wants to get on with things out on track. He wants to gap Rock City, and he's not hanging about here, and he's got to keep up a consistent pace, of course, for everyone to rejoin on. Passos has still not joined on to the back. He just about is now. The safety car is in, and Invictus is going to have to back up the pack. He's backed up the pack too much. Nearly Rock City and Jibby Storm making contact, but across the safety car line. Perfect timing, we're back and away. And Jibby Storm now is on the back of Rock City, trying to run down in towards turn 1. DRS's calls not enabled until lap 18 when they go onto the lap of Rock City. Tries to go down the inside. Invictus is trying to let him through. Invictus is trying to let him through. Mates is down the inside of Bart. I think Invictus is trying to let Rock City through, and he can't. And there's all sorts of carnage. And Maze is out of the race.
And the Mercedes, the other Mercedes off there. Rock City was side by side with Invictus. My oh my, now Freak Bog's gone round to the Williams, spearing off to the side. Maze out at turn 1. I think that Invictus trying to back up the pack, trying to let it through, has caused that concertina effect and has wiped several cars out of contention here. What on earth has happened there? So now Invictus leads the way.
Down the inside into sector 2. Brilliant.
Wow.
Really good move. Down the inside he goes. Jips has lost a position to Schmitsky as well, but Invictus does lead. All of that spawned from Invictus trying to let through Rock City at a really dangerous part of the track coming through Sector 1. He could have just let him through on the run up towards the hairpin. That would have been the more sensible option, I think. But no. And Invictus, who is one of our Division 5 admins, might have just landed himself into the steward's room because of that.
Yeah, that was he had the right intentions, I think, but yeah, that was very poorly done. It must be said from Invictus. I think I would have done the same, but yeah, that's just that's
no
very
room.
gutting. Yeah,
that's my controller dropping on the floor. If you heard that, Javruz is on the back of Jibby Storm. The professionals even get it wrong sometimes. Invictus leading the way from Jibby Storm in second, Javruz in third, and Jibby Storm closing up to the back of Invictus. And has that possibly, as Pastas has gone through on Silas, who lost it, I think, at the final corner, has Invictus now got a chance of winning this? Because Jibby Storm running behind him, Javruz running behind, Schmitsky, by the way, fair to say, he's on a set of soft compound of tyres. He's mincing his way through the field.
He's right on the back of Nilsson now in the McLaren. There he gets a little bit out of shape. He's going alongside already. And he gets squeezed to the inside, but he makes it through. He went through the grass, but Schmitsky fades away. And he is now up in the fifth place. Yellow's back there. Silas is going off, going through. Dunlop there, losing out there, and now he's got Freak Bronca behind him. But that's brilliant from Schmitsky. He is not out this race just yet. And they may go to war up in the front, because Jimmy Storm looking for a fifth victory in a row. That would mean he's won more races than he hasn't. He is now lining up Invictus, trying to find a way through right at the death here. We have about 10 and a bit laps to go here in Suzuka, and Invictus holding on up in the front for what would be a rather controversial victory. But now Jimmy Storm's going to try and deny that, and he is pouring it on now, heading it through 130 on, then he's lining him up. DRS is going to be active on the next lap, I believe, and that is when these guys are going to have better opportunities to overtake there. And now Invictus powering off, charging off of that final chicane there. The DRS is now going to be enabled. They won't have the chance to use it though go until the end of this lap. Further back then, we got Jeps on the back of Nilsson. Looks to the inside line. Rock City trying to make progress, and that Mercedes has to sit in behind as Jeps are running a little bit wide through too. Trying to line up their McLaren, can't quite find a way through. Has to sit in behind as up in the front, Jimmy Storm trying to pressure Invictus, but Invictus not making any mistakes in the front. Schmitsky's all over Park there now. Jeps and Rock City right inside, caught in the Red Bull, almost round, spears across the track. Somehow keeps it going in a straight line, but my oh my, this is chaotic. What I was going to say now, Schmitsky right on the back of Bart here for P4.
Did Jips pick up any front wing damage, I wonder? That's why he was slowing down, maybe to let people through. Salas is again round coming through Dunlop Curve, and the Schmitsky Barmy Army well in force, I've got to be honest, now in the chat. That is the one-man Barmy Army from Mark right there, out on track, but he is right on the back of Bart. Bart, by the way, is in P4. He's on fresher tyres compared to the top three. He can't think about doing the impossible, can he?
Let's see what he can make of that. We are now coming off of the speed curve then for the 10th to last time in the race. And again, Jimmy Storm reeling in Invictus. Invictus is low on his DRS, and he's been trying to break that DRS, but he's been unable to. And now the championship leader is piling it on here, but I think he'll be too far away now. But DRS is in order, and look at Schmitsky on the charge in again. Has Bart in his sights to the inside line with DRS. They almost touch as Bart moves over, but it is nothing he can do to defend it. Through goes Schmitsky. Runs in fourth place. How far can he charge in the final stages? Will those tyres hold up? He does have a penalty to his name. That could really hold him back, but he is still going to run at the top three here in the race. At the moment, Jets now with a penalty. What a horrible lap he's had in the recent times in this race. Now Nilsson's lining up Bart in that battle over fifth place. So the battle's still going on. Almost loses the car, and the Red Bull just about keeps it on. Now Rock City lining him up. Nilsson now up in the fifth place. having had one of his best results of the season. TTML's right with them, but they're all converging in this part of the
look,
field. And Rocksteady round!
He's off! And I thought he was out of the race. He's lost his front wing entirely now, and that is absolutely disastrous. And a VSE has been deployed out on track. Cars having to slow down to 40% worth, and if Rock City's day could not even get any worse, it all spawned, I think, for my commentator's curse that I might have caused earlier on in the race. And Rock City now down in 11th position, no front wing. He is going to have to try and make this an absolute miracle drive, but you know what? I think it's worth maybe retiring the car, or similarly going for fastest lap attempt, see how far he can get into the field towards the end of the race. And the VSC, I think, is about to end, if I'm not mistaken. Invictus has certainly sped up out on track. And Invictus, there we go.
Penalty.
Silas has got a penalty, and Invictus has as well. Drive through.
Wow. And yet again, everything falls into Jimmy Storm's lap, as it has in the last few weeks. Jimmy Storm yet again moving on for race victory. Daymiles on board now to the inside of turn 1, gets the move done in the Alfa Romeo, runs it out wide, but he will recover and he will now run in that second place in front of Bart, who slides in the field. But Invictus, he tried to cut it fine, he tried to get the jump, but it didn't work out. Now with a drive through, now Jimmy Storm has the complete upper hand. He's in the penalty to win this one, and Rock City, as you predicted, now out the race. A disastrous turn of events for the Mercedes.
Yeah, not surprised at that at all. Rock City giving up out on track. He has retired the car in his pit box, I can confirm that. But now Invictus has got it all to do. Drive through penalties, about 15 seconds in and out of the pit lane without making a pit stop for even a front wing change. And this is really going to cost out on track Invictus. And Jimmy Storm must be the luckiest 13-year-old kid in the world. Honestly, he is right on the back of Invictus. And I know Friday nights are becoming more of like an interview night with him. We may as well just have him as the host of the stream, to be honest. He is that popular, and he's coming in that far. Jips, by the way, is closing up on Bart. Bart flies past, running down in towards 130R. And Jips is through, and he's up into 7th position. I wonder if Invictus will come in straight away. No, he doesn't. I thought Invictus might come in straight away, dispose of that penalty, and then allow Jimmy Storm to try and get Jimmy Storm, by the way, new fastest lap of the race. It's right on the back of Invictus, but he's not going to get the move done. Down in towards turn 1. Nilsson closing up on Schmidtke. Schmidtke's tyres look like they've just fell off the cliff. They cannot go any further, surely. He will have to make another pit stop.
Well, they can try and maybe nurse him to the end, but he's going to lose so much, and he is now, by the looks of things, heading into puncture territory, potentially. Yeah. After this VSE, he's not made any progress, and Nilsson all over him, but making a few mistakes, a few errors, going to the S section, just setting it back a little bit. Up at the front, Invictus is going to have to come in. Jimmy Storm is right there with him. You can see him now, lining him up, and I'm not sure what the penalty is for not serving a drive-through. Is it disqualified from the race entirely?
I think so.
Yeah, so Invictus is going to have to come in. So I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get that removed. In the end of the day, speeding under VSC is speeding under VSC. There's not much you can really do about it, and he's going to have to live with that. And he runs wide again to going through Spoon Car. And Jimmy Storm, it is unbelievable how these races have all worked out so brilliantly for the Dutchman, who looks now with Mays out of the race. He has Jadros trying to chase him down, but Jimmy Storm looks to be taking another step closer to the championship, and he may well be very close to wrapping it up the way things are going. If he can now overhaul Invictus here at the front of the race, as we now head through there, you can see Jimmy Storm a little bit out of shape. Now into the pit lane comes Invictus. As you said, he'll probably lose about 15 to 20 seconds. Through goes Jimmy Storm. Now, the Racing Point can now just try and cruise at the front, try and get the stars to the end, with Chad Rose now 3 seconds back.
Well, he's on 12 uphill mediums. Those tires are inevitably going to get to the end. Nilsson's right on the back of Schmidtke for P3, a potential podium for one of these two out on track. Nilsson seems to be in the more favourable territory, and actually Nilsson, first time I think we've seen in a while, he hasn't picked up any penalties out on track, which is key, I think, to his success so far out on track. He's driven a really astute race from getting disqualified for going the wrong way into the pit lane, of course, in Singapore. And Schmidtke third, Nilsson fourth as it stands. Jips, by the way, on his debut in 6th position, doing a fantastic job. That 10-second time penalty will get removed, so he's going to have less penalties than Day Miles, and he will outscore him out on track. Could he potentially be on for a top 3 if Schmidtke's tyres were to go off the cliff and Nilsson was to come back to these guys?
He definitely needs a lot in his favour, a lot to go his way, but I'd definitely say a top 5 is at the very least in his pocket. We'll see how that goes. Nilsson running very wide through a smooth curve, indeed then tries to pick that throttle back up, but he has lost a bit of time, and that may well be a warning, I'm not entirely sure. He's very low in ERS, and that's just about keeping Shvetsky afloat. Shvetsky seems to have rallied again in this last lap or so. He is beginning to chase out Jack Rose, but how much would that penalty cost him out there on the circuit? Watching Jimmy Storm over the line, Jack Rose has pulled him back just a little bit, then again he does lose a bit of time coming off that last corner. He definitely now looks to try and come at him, is now Invictus on the back of Freak Frog. Can he make a move tonight? He must be absolutely gutted as McLaren. He had a great chance of victory today.
Yeah, he's right on the back of Freak Frog, trying to go around the outside and towards 130R through there. And now Invictus down the straight, could try and look for the move in the second half of the run. Down and towards turn 1, Freak Frog covers the inside line. Could he think about going all the way around the outside from Invictus? This will be brilliant, and he has! Invictus has gone right around the outside, he's through, and Nilsson is through, and Schmidtski's made a mistake out on track, so Nilsson through, and he's up into P3. Freak Frog fights back, and they're both fighting for absolute grim life. They've got nothing to lose, these two out on track, and Invictus all the way around the outside. I think it's just been mullered again by Freak Frog, and there's a yellow flag in sector 1, and it's Bart that's round. Bart is round through Dunlop Curve. I think he's lost his left side end plate damage as well. No, actually he hasn't, or he might have just done there as he spun once again, as Invictus is right on the back of Freak Frog. Sardas, new fastest lap of the race, 29.8. Invictus right on the back of Freak Frog. Freak Frog got mullered. Mullered Invictus back. It's as simple as that.
What a fantastic exchange that was between those two. Now they're both really good pass sales. Could have a good battle here shaping up for 7th place out there on the road. Invictus trying to strike back though. Can he get a run off a spin? He's almost losing the car. Just about able to wrestle it back under control, but that was a little bit of a hairy moment there for Invictus. Underscore 6765668. That's a bit of a mouthful indeed for the McLaren driver. Can he recover to maybe snatch a 7th place there? Of course, none of these guys have penalties at the moment to their name. And now Jeps has gone into the pit lane. So I'm not exactly sure why he's done that. Did he pick up damage in the Red Bull? He comes into the pits, there's no wing change, he's getting fresh tyres on. As now Dave Miles drawing, he's looking at Shvetsky. He's gone off! He's gone off, there must have been contact down there. He drops now several seconds adrift in that fight. So Dave Miles going off, and after having had one of his best races of the season, now under more pressure to try and pull it off. It may well be too far away from Shvetsky unless the Williams driver picks up a puncture in these last few laps of the race. We have about 3.5 to go here in Suzuka. Trying to get up on the wrong side. Pass his leg. Can he go all the way around the outside? Of the one Freak Frog is in a second position. And Invictus gets through. An unbelievable pass sales parked it on the apex, and Invictus found the space. That is remarkable. Simply remarkable. And somehow, and I'd give something up perfectly there, James. That was just an unbelievable sequence of events. Cassius was hesitant on the inside, and Invictus flying into 7th. Has a run at 6th place then, with Freak Frog in front of him. Can he find a way through here? Freak Frog a little bit out of shape. Early entry into the second on a smooth curve is going to cost him. Is it going to be possibly in a 130R? The overtake being used in defence for Freak Frog, and he will hold on, but for how much longer? Now through 130R towards the Casio triangle. He's trying to line him up. Doesn't go quite to that inside line, but now Invictus lining him up. Can he get a 2nd place finish here? Sharp from the rear tyres, Slay for the rear of the car from Freak Frog. Invictus in the slipstream, looking to the left, looking to the right. He'll go down the right hand side, and it's going to be side by side again into the first corner. Is the inside line going to prevail? Yes, it is. Invictus up in a 2nd place. Freak Frog couldn't hold him back, and a good fight back from Invictus, but what a bittersweet this race will be.
Sardas' round coming through the middle sector as well, but Invictus, if there's one way to make a statement from absolutely botching up the safety car restart, it's that. He's just cream-crackered passes around the outside through Degner 1, and then he's gone down the inside on turn 1 on Freak Frog. Absolutely remarkable, and he is biting back on all the critics that he might have just got from this race. He is really developing up, and he could catch Dave Miles before the end of this race as well. But look at how much of the time we've got left. We've only got 2 more laps to go after this, and Jimmy Storm leading the way by 2.2 seconds, controlling things. He's the luckiest 13-year-old kid probably ever alive now in the same racing world. Jack Roos there in 2nd. Nilsson is on for his first podium all season in 3rd. He's doing doing an absolute outstanding job out on track. Schmidtke there in 4th, Demals in 5th, Invictus 6th, Friponk 7th, Passels 8th, Gibbs in 9th, got there in the end, Bart in 10th, and Salas in 11th. That's a really big mouthful to say when you try and say it quickly like I've just done. But Jimmy Storm leads on to the penultimate lap of the race. Penalties there, Schmidtke 3 seconds, Demals 12, Gibbs has got 16, but I think he'll get that 10-second time penalty removed, and Bart has got 6 seconds worth of penalties, and I think Demals are all corner cutting penalties, if I'm not mistaken, out on track. The boring last 2 laps now of the race.
I think everyone's just about settled into like Jep's fastest lap then. He'll deny that, I think, from Silas, I think, who held it previously. So fresh soft tyres underneath the Red Bull. Looks like a fastest lap on debut. Solid stuff out there. So it looks like everyone's just starting to settle down for the race finish. Jimmy Storm, it's unbelievable, isn't it? How everything just falls this kid's way. And now he is emphatically headed for a huge race win in the championship. Jack Roos has tried to run with him, just hasn't had the speed, hasn't had the pace. And Jimmy Storm 1990, he wasn't born in 1990, believe me, but he is now headed for the race victory now. He just has a lap to go, 1.8 seconds in hand. Jack Roos has began to reel him in these last few laps. Nilsson as well on Jack Roos is chasing him down to the end, but you sense for both of those guys it's going to be too late here as we head on to the final lap.
Schmidtke looks after his tyres like someone else's goldfish. Is what Marcus just said in the comment section. These comments are coming through. Keep them coming through. There's going to be more tomorrow. Salas has retired out on track, by the way, through the turn 4 and 5 section, coming through the S section. And now we're on to the final lap, and it's that man there who leads. Javus in 2nd, Nilsson in 3rd. This is probably the most uneventful last 2 laps of any race so far this season. But Jimmy Storm leading. Nilsson, by the way, on 5 lap fresher tyres. I'm surprised he hasn't made enough inroads on Jack Roos and Jimmy Storm. He just hasn't got the pace to try and close these down. He is closing them down now, albeit, but it's too little, too late out on track. But it looks like, I think, barring any accidents and any punctures out on track, this is probably going to be our top 3. So Dan is probably now going to be hammering away at this. 22 viewers, by the way, which I think is the highest we've had for Division 5 so far this season. Thank you to each and every one of you, including me on my iPad that's watching this back later on. Jimmy Storm, though, happening out on track. It's just been a phenomenal drive, though, hasn't it?
Yeah, it just hasn't put a foot wrong. Again, you know, we call him the luckiest 13-year-old on the planet, but he is taking all these opportunities that he's been handed with both hands, not making errors, and now heading for what will be an astonishing 5th victory in a row. Nilsson trying to come at Jack Roos late in the day, but it will just be a little bit too much to reel in. But now, round the final corner, Jimmy Storm again is going to be on the top step of the podium. A phenomenal drive, crossing the line, 2 seconds clear. 2nd goes to Jack Roos, 3rd to Nilsson, and now Schmidtke will hold on to those tyres and hold on to 4th place. Is he going to hold on to the fact Demals?
Yeah, he will.
Comes over the line, he has penalties. Invictus may well jump up into that 5th place. He does. Good recovery drive from Invictus. Freak Frog jumps Demals as well, who slips to 7th place in the end. Passales crosses, he gets up in front of Demals as well. So Demals losing all those places on penalties after a pretty solid race. Now we're just waiting for the Red Bulls to cross the line. Jimmy Storm on the top step of the podium, and you said now he has one hand on that championship trophy.
Yeah, Rock City just coming in there in the comment section saying, really unfair, we get you, we know what's going to be happening, and hopefully the stewards will have a look at it, I am sure. Bart coming across the line to gain 9th position, by the way. He did get ahead of whoever finished in front of him. Driver of the day, Nilsson is awarded the in-game fan driver of the day. But it is that man there who will be appearing up on your screen in probably a few seconds' time. The luckiest 13-year-old. I wonder how many times we've said that so far tonight. Take a shot every time that we've said that. As now he takes a selfie and reaches to the top step of the podium. A fantastic win from Jimmy Storm. His 5th in a row. Tekken-esque last season.
Yeah, that level of dominance has certainly only been seen by Tekken, I think, in this division. you've got to hand it to Jimmy Storm. He has certainly been the class of the field. He wins again today. Jatros gave it his best shot, couldn't quite get to him. Nilsson, maybe a few more laps, he could have made more of an impact in the end. Third place for the German. That's still, I think, his best result of the season. Shwetsky, fourth place there, solid enough drive after some difficult times earlier on in the race. Invictus recovers to fifth place. It may well have been a race victor though if he hadn't made that mistake on the VSC restart. Freak Frog ends up in sixth place in front of Pascal, seventh. Then you have Damels, Bar and Jeps rounding out the top 10, and the only finishers in the race. Silas classified, but he didn't see the checker flag. Neither did Rock City, Maze, Satmy King or Storm. In a race of attrition where we only had 10 finishers there, which is not exactly what we want to see, but in the end it was Jimmy Storm yet again on the top step of the podium, and with just 2 rounds to go this season, I believe that surely is going to all but round up the championship.
Yeah, I think honestly Jimmy Storm has done a fantastic job, and I'm sure Dan, you're going to interview, or you're going to invite the top 3 in for interviews. I'm sure we're going to get one person in for sure who I know is making a very regular recurrence of these interviews. I even interviewed him last week before the race, and then an hour and a half later he won. And then I had to interview him again, which was an absolute joy. And it was the only man that actually joined me last week, considering you were absent. So he's like my de facto second commentator, I guess, last week in Singapore as well. But a fantastic drive. And before we get our interviewees in, a big thank you to all of the organisational team, to all of the commentary team. I know I said this last night, but without the commentary team here, without myself and Dan, Aidan Carter, Malk, who commentates on CWC, without the rest of you guys, who I failed to mention because I've probably forgot your names, it's been an absolute stoic job so far this season and in this year of 2020, the most difficult of years in real life. We have pulled together to try and make it as good as possible for everyone, for you guys, the viewers, and for all to watch. And I'm sure you guys have really been entertained by 2020. And that, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is our last race of 2020. And now we can officially say it, a break in TTML. What? Anyways, we've got... Absolutely brilliant. I was expecting more of a reaction than that, Dan. Thank you very much. And to Jibby Storm for joining us. Jibby Storm is here. A fifth race win in a row. Everything seems to just fall in place. And we've said it all along throughout commentary, and you'll see it later on. You must be the luckiest 13-year-old alive at the minute.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. And I was screaming when I got over the finish line, because this was a really hard race for me. And some people are going to hate me about this when I'm going to say it, but I don't like this track. I am not good at it, and it's... I don't know. The show, I hadn't had the pace, but I don't know what happened to Invictus. Why did it... Can you tell me why did he pit?
We believe that Rock City had a bit of a lag spike underneath the safety car. He dropped back to second, just ahead of you, and Invictus was leading. He tried to let Rock City back through turn 2, and that's what caused all of the carnage and the chaos in that safety car restart. You were directly behind that. How did it seem from your perspective?
I was trying to not hit Rock City and Invictus in front of me, and not to Jet Roos behind me. So I was really I was going to the left, to the right. I was avoiding them, and it worked out. But Invictus, when Rock City was out of the race, Invictus was leading, and he goes into the pits. Why did he go into
drive
the pits?
through?
It was because he sped on the VSC, the virtual safety car restart, so he had to go into the pit lane. He had a drive through.
Very unlucky for him.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have informed that. He should have watched it back later on and probably got more excitement out of it.
Yeah. Oh wow. This is one of the most exciting ones. I don't know why, because yeah, they really had the pace. I did not have the pace. My tires were on 70%. Wow. I was stressing so much. That's why the gap dropped from 2.7 to 1.6, because I was trying to not blow up my tires.
Yeah, quick question from me. Now with that race victory pulls you much further ahead in the standings, and now that we're getting towards the end of the season now, are you thinking about the championship?
Am I thinking about the championship? You fall away a bit, so...
That's just my accent. Yeah, that was it.
Am I thinking? Yeah, I'm thinking a lot about the championship. I was really stressing because I didn't know what the pace was from Mace, and yeah, he qualified 5th, I think.
5th or 6th, yeah.
Yeah, and I was very angry about my pole position, man. I had the pole, and then Rock City just But yeah, I'm thinking about it a lot. Yeah.
I'm just trying to work out the live standings at the minute. So, Dan, if you wouldn't mind, ask him another question.
Put me on the spot here, James.
James, now you need somebody.
Exactly.
No, just go through what was going through your mind. Obviously, after all that chaos, after the safety car and then the VSC, just what was going through your mind to the end of the race? You mentioned how much you were being stretched on your tires. How stressed were you near the end of that race?
From 1 to 10.
Yeah, go on.
50. I'm sweating so much. Literally, if Jet Roos was like 5/10 behind me, I would have just let him go. Because, yeah, of course, he was faster. I think he was on the hards, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
and yeah, then just because of tire management, I would let him to this. Yeah, I made the wrong decision today from the tires, but oh yeah. And with the first safety car, I thought, should I go in for a new set of mediums? But I thought, no, I'm not gonna do it. I think it was a better decision if I was going into the pits. But it worked out. I'm here now. Again with James. Amazing.
James, have you worked everything out yet? Or
Yeah,
your arithmetic up to scratch?
My arithmetic is indeed up to scratch now. So I believe going into next week, Jibby Storm will have a 40-point lead over Jack Roos because he now inherits 2nd in the championship because Mays didn't finish the race. So Jack Roos now is the nearest pursuer. Going to the New Year's break, and obviously with 2 races to go, Mexico and Abu Dhabi, what's, first of all, your expectations in 2021? And second, you've got one hand on that title. Are you going to secure it in Mexico?
I can't look into the future, but we will see. We will see. Again, I don't think I'm gonna win. I say this every week because I don't think I'm gonna win. I am the luckiest person alive. it has to be. Mace has better pace than me. If I look at the times, he has better pace than me. But wow, I'm so lucky.
Oh, honestly, it's been an absolute thrill to have you in the last 5 interview rooms, certainly as P1. Go and enjoy your evening, and I wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
You too. Merry Christmas, everybody. At home, also.
At home. Yeah, stay at home. Don't leave your house.
Stay at home. Stay at home. Don't leave your house. There's a virus.
Listen to the 13-year-old kid, not the head commentator of TTML.
You didn't. What you've done is deny James of his famous monologue at the end of the stream. Then you've just done it for him.
He may as well end off the stream if he wants.
Yeah.
I'll go and let you enjoy your evening before you start speaking again.
Yeah, I will. Thank you very much, guys, and see you next week. I think.
No, next year.
No, not. Oh yeah, next year.
Next year.
Not in the party. Not in the party. I mean, see you next week, like in the racing world again.
That made no sense whatsoever, but we'll roll with it. We'll see you next week.
See you next week, guys.
See you later.
Oh, these interviews honestly just get better and better each and every week, honestly. It is absolutely fantastic, and a big congratulations, of course, to Jibby Storm. The top 3, I think, are not here with us, I don't believe, unless anybody sneaked in. I'm just going to go on a blue screen and quickly check. Yeah, nobody is here, so that is it for 2020 here in TTML as I say, thank you to everyone that has made this possible. From the merge, from TTL and TMC, we thank all of the organisations teams behind it. Dan, I'd like to thank you in particular, as well as the rest of the commentary team, for putting on an absolute sterling job, and we look forward to seeing the new innovations that we're going to bring, of course, in 2021. And a big shout out to Tom Zaggers. He is our graphics man, not here tonight, of course, in Division 5. He takes the Fridays off because he's league racing. But honestly, without him, you wouldn't get the overall package here at TTML. And I'll come to you, Dan, for your final thoughts. Who was your driver of the day? And what are your expectations for 2021 in Division 5?
Well, I've got to be careful here because the race winner is still in the party with us. That's put the pressure on. You know what? No, I'm going to agree with the game. I'm going to say Nilsson. Just because he has had a very tough season all the way through, got involved with some incidents and really shone today. And if there were a few more laps, he could well have maybe even fought for the win there. So I'll give it to Nilsson. But also big shout out to Jimmy Storm yet again.
Yeah, big shout out, and Jav is now a new fan, I think, in the League of Europe Discord of Jippy Storm. This kid is so wholesome, bro. There you are. He's still in the party, so he's probably just heard that. So we'll end it off here, though. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's my first season fully as well as TTML head commentator. Had to get that in. Again, thank you to everyone that has been tuning in. We know how hard it is out there. We know how tough it is. Keep on at it, whatever the outcome. We are still here to provide your normality going in towards 2021. From all of us here in TTML, we wish you a very happy Christmas and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Nearly got the other two round because I was going to say Merry New Year. Don't know why I was going to say that. That would have been weird anyways. I'm rambling on. Thank you so much for tuning in to TTML. We will see you fresh and bright in the new year. And, of course, 24 hours of F1 tomorrow. Please tune in. Please donate for a valuable, valuable cause. Myself and Dan are going to be commentating on it. Aidan Carter commentating on it. As well as your favourite commentators from around the F1 community. We are going to pull together £2,000 target. Let's reach it in 2 days' time. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, next year, goodbye.